Hello and welcome to another episode of our blog to Mexico. Today we will talk about Campeche, about the little town of San Francisco de Campeche. It is a little town, more or less little. It has about 250,000 inhabitants and it was built by the Spanish, actually the same Spanish who founded Mérida, Francisco de Montejo, in 1540. San Francisco de Campeche was actually built on top of another Mayan city, as so many colonial cities actually. And the Mayan city was called Campeche. So this is where the name Campeche comes from. Campeche is located in the Gulf of Mexico in the Bay of Campeche. Campeche is also the name of the entire region that we are in, actually the state of Campeche. The Mayan city of Campeche actually was not that small. It had up to 36,000 inhabitants during its peak. However, the arrival of the Spanish, the arrival of the colonial wars, and also the diseases that the Europeans brought, especially smallpox, put a heavy dent into the inhabitants of Campeche. The Mayan population was reduced down to 5,000 people. San Francisco de Campeche was used as a port city mainly. As to its strategic position in the Gulf of Mexico, it offered great access to the peninsula of Yucatan for the further conquest. People, for example, could land on the other side of the peninsula in the Caribbean, travel by land to Campeche and continue their way on by ship to, for example, Veracruz, to go to Mexico City. However, due to its great position in the Gulf of Mexico, Campeche was raided a lot by pirates, without many riches to be found because there were no natural resources like silver or gold. There was just like obsidian and a lot of limestone. But the city was not very prosperous, so the pirates usually had to wait like 5, 6, 7 years in order for the city to build up a little bit more prosperity before it was worth it raiding it again. Obviously, the city, the inhabitants, were not very happy with the raiding, so they decided to build fortifications. In the North Americas, next to Quebec, Campeche is one of the only places that still has the original walls and fortifications intact. These were built and finished until 1704. As many Mexican cities and towns that have a colonial history, also Campeche has a lot of colonial features nowadays, but especially the forts and the city walls and the state that they are very well preserved is what makes Campeche unique. So the UNESCO decided to make it a World Heritage Site in 1999, and coincidentally we stumbled into the festivities of celebrating the 25th anniversary. In the city we saw a lot of festivities, a lot of decorations also, and it was a very nice little treat. So you can visit the forts and you can even go up the city walls in some places. For example, there is the Puerta de Tierra. It is the city gate in the direction of the Yucatan Peninsula to the mainland. And there is a fort called Baluarte de San Francisco. There is a little show, I think like 3-4 nights per week in the evening, where you can learn about the history of Campeche, about the Mayan history, about the pirates, and a little bit about the colonial heritage. However, there is an entrance fee, and if you want to save some more money, you can better visit the Baluarte de San Carlos, which is in the western side of the city walls or of the inner city, and there the entrance is completely free. You have some artifacts from the times, you have very good texts about the history, also in English, so you can learn a little bit about the history of San Francisco de Campeche, and also you can go up the city walls and have a beautiful view of the sunset from there. And as a little gimmick, you can even ring the bell that used to be the old alarm bell of the fort. Another highlight in my and in our opinion of San Francisco de Campeche is the Malecón, so the waterfront of the city. The waterfront, or what we see today, actually is landfilled, so everything between the city wall and the sea is landfilled and artificial. Most part of that is a big street, but there's also a bike trail that you can use. And on this Malecón you have a beautiful and amazing view of the sunset. Every night we went to watch the sunset. The colors are just amazing. The clouds are painted orange and red, so it is a very fascinating view. This is also, the Malecón is also where La Novia del Mar is located. So if you want to know more about the legend of the Bride of the Sea, you can check out our other video in German. What we did in the Malecón, which was a very unique experience, is take a bike ride down the Malecón. So you can see, you can get a little bit further, you can see places that usually by foot you don't really reach. And also just riding the bike in the sunset is a very unique experience, even though the bikes were god-awful. So the first bike that I had, the tire popped after 100 meters of riding it. And then also located at a Malecón is a water fountain, and this water fountain displays water and light shows every night at 8 p.m. You can go, it lasts about half an hour, they play some Mexican classics and have some water displays.
They will be taken into home and then people just... I'm not sure, there was some reason.
Inside of the inner city, so inside of the city walls, there are some nice old colonial buildings you can visit. For example, the mansion Carvajal. So it used to be a wealthy merchant, I think a Spanish landowner who dealt in henequen, a hemp-like material that is very typical from this region of Yucatan. Another point of interest is the Centro Cultural Casa Número 6. So this is also like a free little museum. You can go inside, you can check out old colonial household items and how it used to look probably 200-300 years ago. There are some churches like in every colonial city, and of course you have the Plaza de la Independencia, which used to be the Plaza de las Armas, so like a military parade plaza. It was used for the public display and humiliation of prisoners, of pirates, also of Mayan population. And then one of the most touristic areas, I mean obviously the inner city is where all the tourism happens. However, there is one street, the Calle 59, which stretches all the way from the Puerta del Mar all the way to La Puerta de Tierra. One straight street across the entire inner city, where nowadays there is a lot of restaurants and cafes and also gift shops. It is great to take a stroll down there, but it's also great to just stay in a place. This is where we, for example, played some loteria. It's like bingo, but the Spanish version. If you have the chance, maybe you can just ask your waiter and they will maybe provide a little game of loteria for you. And this is also where we sang some karaoke, so you'll find all kinds of activities. You find very luxurious, fancy restaurants, but also more rougher kind of bars. If you want to visit a beach, actually don't go to Campeche. maybe go to Cancun. We went to a beach called Playa Bonita, but it was actually not that bonita. It was very small, the water was very foggy, there were a lot of stones in the beach, or like inside of the water. You couldn't see the stones. We stubbed our toes quite a couple of times. However, inside of the water it was nice. One place, however, that we can recommend is the Mercado Principal. So the Mercado de Campeche. It is like all the mercados, I think, but it's very lively. You find a lot of chaos, but you can find all kinds of products in this chaos. And this is what I really like about the mercados. This is where we found all the ingredients we needed for a nice German goulash, because Phillip brought some knödel. So, this concludes our trip to Campeche. It is a very nice, recommendable little town. Calm, beautiful sunsets. Next we went to Palenque and the Tren Maya. Phillip went back to Europe. Unfortunately, we had to say goodbye. But we took the Tren Maya to Palenque, and this is where you can expect a lot more nature and also some impressive ruins, so you can look forward to that. Thank you all for tuning in another time, and goodbye. Adios.